Welcome on in, everyone. As we are continuing the reading of Katawa Shoujo, so sit back, relax, enjoy the rest of the stream. I wake up to the annoying din of my alarm clock. Bright red numeral lighting up my face. It's this lame alarm clock I had from one of the few remaining artifacts from my days before coming to Yamaku. I hoped that using it would help ease my transition into this new life. No such luck, though. Ruggedly dragging myself out of bed, I wipe the sleep out of my eyes, then reach over to my desk. I open a couple of the bottles of medication strewn across it and swallow a few pills dry. By now, the process is starting to become automatic. Something I should be glad for, given their purpose. Feeling much more awake than before, I wander into the bathroom. The shower warms up, my mind begins to wander as the new daily routine begins once again. The bright colors of the firework fill my mind as the two girls with whom I spent my time watching them. It feels strange to be moved so much by people I know so little about. Then again, I suppose these aren't normal circumstances. At least I have someone to talk to, now aside from my schoolmate next door. With the time left before school begins today, I'll be getting ready to get ready for classes. Or in the classroom, I noticed them still somewhat early. I see about 5 or 6 students milling around, most of them looking as if they'd rather be still in bed. Like this, I appreciate being a morning person. That said, 2 students in particular, just as perky as always. She's saying, "Hi, Misha." My grinning would be lost on the former, so I quickly follow up with a wave. She doesn't seem overly bothered. Or interested, for that matter. Hello, John. Are you feeling well? Green comes for Shizune. It's hard to tell if she's speaking as herself or Shizune sometimes. And most everyone else, I guess. You two seem bright and chipper. Yes, say it, listening a somewhat terse answer. If her sharp and rapid movements are any indication. Those two made such a big deal out of the festival preparations. I probably should have chosen my words more carefully. Student, we've been cutting you some slack. Please don't expect this task dodging to be allowed in the future. She's about to add her own comment, but quickly goes back to interpreting as Sune continues unabated. Your contribution to Class 3-2 style is appreciated. Sure got around quickly. That or these two have their fingers on the pulse of the school. Your efforts be focused on the task at hand, namely your own class. As much as I hate to admit it, they do have a point. Spawn, though, she's only had something more which draws a smile for Misha. Did you enjoy the festival, then? Drover, I guess. Yeah, it was good. Did you two enjoy it? Nod. Misha grins and bounces her head up and down. Contrast side by side is amusing. Corner of my eye, I notice more students starting to trickle in the classroom. A quick glance at my watch confirms that they're a few minutes late. See, realize she's already there, contentedly reading a book. Wonder just how long she's been there without me noticing. The hallway signaling Muto's arrival, our idle talking comes to an end and I take my seat next to Misha. As the door slides open, he strides through with a ponderous gait. His posture is even worse than usual and his eyes are barely staying open. I guess my quip to Lilly and Hanako about the staff was misplaced. Everyone opens their books as reaches his desk and the first class of the new week begins. Rub my eyes as the lunch bell rings out, glad for the temporary reprieve from work. When I look over the door and see Lilly standing there, cane in hand, patiently waiting for Hanako. Her acceptance of my request to join them yesterday, I decided to spend my lunchtime with them rather than eat alone. Surprisingly fast to meet her companion, and the two enter the hallway before I can catch up. His head turns slightly, registering the sound of footsteps behind her. It notices and follows her lead. She almost jumps in surprise. Hisao? Hello, Hisao. Hi, sorry if I startled you. Greet me, helped in orientation by Hanako. Good afternoon, Hisao. Are you joining us? It's no trouble. There's not much else to do, really. Silently brush away the idea that would be troubling in the least. Ascend one of the stairways and walk the hallway to the usual room. Our pace somewhat quicker than usual thanks to Lilly using Hanako for direction, rather than her cane and the railings. As expected, it's deserted. The sound of the other clubs can only barely be heard as the sunlight streams into the room from outside. Looking around the room, I notice a couple of empty easels propped up against a wall that I don't think were there before. The art club must use this room as an extra storage. Should I get the chess set out? His voice seems less tense when she's directly addressing Lilly. Yes, I'll make tea while you sort the pieces. I can do that for you if you'd like. Honors the offer a moment before smiling, confirming that I've made the right choice. Her face is remarkably easy to read. Very well, thank you. Bert came in the handle of her bag and sets it against one of the tea tables before taking a seat opposite Hanako. As I prepare tea for the three of us, I can hear the small wooden pieces being set on the board. I wonder how good Lilly is at chess, given her circumstances. Someone placed the teacups on the table. Lilly and Hanako have already moved their first pieces as they nibble on the sandwiches and rice balls from their respective bags. I notice the chessboard they're using has holes in the middle of each square, and pegs on the bottom of the pieces, and has each dark square slightly raised. Julian's fingers skin with the board, tracing out the positions of the pieces, makes me marvel a little at the simple ingenuity of the design. It must be specifically made for blind players. There you go. Hanako gives a small nod as I put down the cup to her side of the board. Lily's hand ventures sideways slightly, so I gently place the cup, touching the tips of her fingers, a gesture she seems to appreciate. I finally take a seat and silently sip my tea as the two play. The contrast in their appearances while playing is interesting to watch. Hanako clearly looks at the board, her face one of focused concentration. Lilly, on the other hand, keeps her head level and maintains her calm neutrality. Lily's gentle voice addresses both of us as she continues to play. How was class now that the festival's over? I'm not gonna see where she answer first, but see that she's doing the same. Ah, great. Half the class seems to be dozing off, even including the teacher. Not to mention a test on top of all that. Snuggle quietly adds her own agreement with this. I can imagine that being difficult for you being a transfer student. Well, I think I did fine, other than the shock of a test coming so early. Science is probably my best subject. How'd you do, Hanako? Me, okay, I guess. Was too sincere to be able to pull off lying very well, that much is obvious. Lily's smile slips very slightly. From her reaction, Hanako mustn't be skilled enough at academics to do very well with preparation. How did your class handle it, Lilly? Went surprising well, actually. One student was absent, which was better than what the teacher expected. Topic all but run dry, the two concentrate on their chess game once again. Can't say I've ever liked the idea of chess as a spectator sport. Given its unique nature, for once I'm wrapped in watching the game unfold. Time wears on, both they demonstrate decent skill at playing the game. Having captured 2 more pawns than Hanako. Lilly has the upper hand, but only slightly. Until Hanako makes a strange move with her queen. Seizing upon this lapse in judgment, Lilly takes the piece with her knight. Without hesitation, Hanako moves a pawn to take Lily's rook on the opposite side of the board and promotes it to queen. Lily's face falters as her move over the pieces, and she realizes she just fell into Hanako's trap. It's a little distracting to have the word traced out after each move, even if it's out of necessity. By Hanako's lack of reaction, she must be used to this. She and Lilly must have played at least a few games of chess against each other after all. Check. Bad at all, nice, Hanako. Cause her to flower into a surprised blush. Thank you. I didn't think it would work. To Lilly, her fingers have just finished tracing out the position of her remaining pieces in an attempt to extricate her king from this bind. I think this is checkmate. I took another look at the board to confirm. Sure enough, her king has nowhere to escape without being threatened by another piece. My earlier question as to which of them is better at this has just been answered. So it is. As a small size, Hanako smiles. In their reaction, this seems like a fairly usual result. How long have you two been playing? I was young. Nods at Hanako's brief answer. Hanako taught me to play soon after I met her. I can beat her every now and then, but that's a rarity. I don't seem to have the right mindset for it. I came to Yamaku at the start of high school, and met Hanako when she moved to the dorms. That means she's only been playing for about 1 year. After seeing Hanako's level of play, I'm not too surprised Lilly has trouble beating her. But she's better at languages than I am, so... An appreciative, slightly amused smile at Hanako's quick reversal of her compliment. That's how it is. To everyone's surprise, the bell suddenly rings, heralding an end to the lunch break. That game lasted longer than I thought it did. Guess we better get back to class. We're in the middle of packing up, so I take Lily's bag and offer it to her. Surprised, she takes it and nods, but then places back down on the table. Hisao, I make a request. Sure, go ahead. Would you mind if I were to quickly feel your face? No, go ahead, I don't mind. The question takes me off guard, but once I regain my composure, it seems sensible enough. So far, Lily's had no idea of what I actually look like, and this would be her only way to find out. Her right hand, which I take into mine and guide to my face before letting go. Entirely silent as Lily's hand moves over and around my features, from my chin to my cheeks to everywhere else. Expect this to feel a lot more disquieting than it does. I suppose that's because the action is an entire matter of practicality, being functionally no different to simply looking at someone's face. This off, but what takes me by surprise is the length of her fingers, not to mention how sure even the slightest of her movements are. I have no doubt that her level of tactile feeling would be far beyond mine. Her hand briefly runs once through my hair before retreating. I'm sure that every inch of my face has been committed to her memory. It's only now, too, that I realize Hanako has been silently watching the entire time. Thank you for letting me do that, Hisao. Dad, I think you're quite handsome. I blush a little remark before raising a questioning eyebrow. But if you can't see how... Just because I can't see doesn't mean I don't have my own preferences. Well, we better go now. Good point. I guess we'll see you later then, Lilly. Looking through the hallways back to our classrooms, I noticed that Hanako seems quieter than before, but also more comfortable. Lily, her hand on Hanako's shoulder, seems to pick up on her assured pace as well, smiling as they walk. If I could spend the rest of my time at Yamaku like this, I don't think it'd be so bad. All that's needed for joy are small exchanges of happiness, after all. My desk and sit my best, I realize something, or rather my stomach does. I was so busy with those two that I forgot to buy lunch. Saturday, my second most favorite day of the week. Entirely due to the fact that it is this day with the second least amount of class ending at the beginning of lunch. I opened my door confidently, myself being more than confident of being able to get enjoyment out of the fine weather and shorter class length. I confidently stride down the hallway and down the stairs to the lobby of the male dorms. I confidently look behind me to see whose footsteps are approaching. I lose my confidence in this day being enjoyable. Hey man, sup? Not much, I guess. Just looking forward to the afternoon, you? His arm around my slumped shoulders far too comfortably. Something's up. Step outside, shall we? It's just about to before you stop me. Take my reaction to his theatrics well, ignoring him. I'll walk outside and start down the steps. Doesn't take too long for him to catch up with me again. I wonder if he wants money or to rant about another conspiracy. Maybe both. I've got a bone to pick with you. Huh? About that blonde. You know who I'm talking about. Conspiracy? It is. For a moment I contemplate feigning ignorance, but realize this will go quicker if I just get it all out. Lilly, the one from your class? You're on first name terms with her? Crawley shocked at this development. Did he not expect me to be able to answer? Himself and coughs into his fist dramatically like everything he does. And that, I'm here to warn you, you know, man to man. Warn me about what, Lilly? You don't know her, man. Mostly true. I've only known her and Hanako for less than 2 weeks. And even then, we've just been exchanging banal chatter after school as we while away lunch. Sure you don't either. Point. You're the one spending an inordinate amount of time with her. It distresses me that someone like Kenju, who is probably as far out of the loop as one could possibly get, knows about such a trivial fact as who I choose to befriend. But again, I am a transfer student, and she's not the only representative of their class, but also a tall blonde. Maybe I should appreciate this ranting as a warning that the rumorville exists in the school, that I'm firmly within it. It's just lunch, nothing special. Look, man, under the bridge. See this bridge? You're under it. A man's gotta do what a man's gotta do to get intel. Sure, you don't end up too far under the bridge. You're losing me, Kenji. That's okay, a lot of people get lost. That's why I'm here to help. Here for under. She looks all harmless on the outside, but I've heard shit, bad shit. You know the student council, right? Follow your shuttle says the words. Putting him and Shizune together in a room is an amusing mental exercise. I wonder if they've met. Yeah, Shizune and Misha are in my class. I seem to have dodged the draft, though. Good man, good man. This blonde, she was there. And the student council, right damn there. I see. And? She's not there now. Uh-huh. Seriously, think about it. Something must have gone down. I stopped walking for a moment, giving the idea more thought than I probably should. Blame that fight the two had, at least in part. Wait, no, not really. Even leaving the student would need a catalyst. In the end, it doesn't explain much at all, other than the fact that their feud goes back some ways. To the point. Not seeing... Oh, pardon me. I'm not seeing how that really affects me, though. Okay, now field this one. Lilly's foreign, obviously. Obviously. What nationality is she? I'm about to give the answer, but realize that I have done. In fact, I've given the matter very little thought. Given that she has no accent and acts perfectly Japanese, I suppose it never really seemed important. Mentioned though, I'm rather curious. To be honest, I don't know. Maybe English? They like tea. I probably shouldn't resort to stereotypes, but that's the only lead I have. Actually, based on per capita consumption of tea. If you were to go by that stereotype, honestly, Germans would be higher. Wait, actually, isn't the Irish? Hold on. Trying to remember. Highest per capita consumption D. Okay. Okay. So yeah, I was off. Get the German. Okay. Yeah, because Germany's number 19 worldwide. But yeah, it's Turkey by far. Then Ireland, Azerbaijan. Number 4 is the UK, and then 5 is Iran. Then Pakistan, Russia, Morocco, New Zealand, and then Chile. Huh, did not see Chile coming. For a reference, China is number 22. Which Germany does consume more tea than China. So there we go. So, there we go. So if we were to go by stereotype, UK would be thing, but also more Ireland would actually be the thing. Somehow I doubt she's Irish, though. Anyway, let's find out. Gee, thanks. Brushes off the quip effortlessly. It is. Who has lots of social power is filthy, stinging rich. You know, blondes are all rich, right? History of disputes and used to belong to a much larger organization. The Roman Catholic Church? Okay, there's that. There's also the Mafia. Rich foreign, there's no way she doesn't have connections to them. I have reason to doubt the logic of his deductions, but she shows no sign of stopping. Think she's from Italy? Mainland Italy's small time, dude. She has to be from Sicily. Those mafioso types come from there. But Sicilians are not known for their blonde hair, my guy. No, Russia. Damn, this could be bad. The mafia there is serious business. Or he's hardcore smuggling in. Wait, slow down there. What are you trying to get at here? Just do. Don't get in your way. Agents don't operate like that, but I just want you to be careful. Come, we'll need all the help we can get. I don't want to lose you, comrade. At least he's concerned for me, kinda. Well, goodbye to him as we separate our respective classes, but I'm not sure that he sees the gesture. It's in my bag. I catch a glimpse of the library books I'd borrowed last week. I might as well return them, considering they took all of 2 days to finish. Briefly consider inviting Hanako along to the library. She's already gone. Probably be better for my studying if I'm alone anyway. The quick stretch and a wave to a couple of classmates who give the same to me. I make my way out of the classroom. Bag shoved the books through the turn slot on the front counter. I noticed a strange person behind the desk. Old and graying. She must be Yuko's replacement when she's working at the cafe. For a free table, task made somewhat difficult considering that, despite there not being students in there, they're all sitting at their own tables. Noticing familiar head of hair, I walk over to one near the braille section. It's hard to tell whether Lily's contouring hard or not. Her placid expression holding perfectly as her finger slides across the dot-filled pages of her book. Hi. Mind if I sit here? No problem at all. Trails off, evidently still focused on our business at hand. Hisao. Odd greeting as I sit opposite her at the table. Like a chemistry textbook up my bag and quickly thumb to the chapter we're covering in class. For now, we sit there and read, each in our own way. Seeing her reminds me of what Kenji said this morning, though. That and the fact that I've never seen someone read in Braille before makes me glances at her. I kind of feel guilty about that, given that she has no way to realize what I'm doing so I decide to ask about it. Her lineage isn't a state secret after all, and there's one thing I've only just noticed from her movements. Hey, Lily, mind if I ask a question? Oh, is something wrong? Just wondering. You're at least part foreign, right? It's a small giggle before setting down her book. She's amused at how squeamish people are about that. Akira's mentioned how she and I look different from others before. But come on, I'm half Japanese, half Scottish. Scottish? It's not exactly my first guess. It takes some effort to not blurt it out. Okay, so she would be UK. So. It's my mind. I think as far as the UK goes, Scotland isn't bad to live in, but I'm not really sure. Just if England was present close, at least geographically. That does leave another question, though. But you have no accent? That's where the details begin. I was born and raised in Japan, despite my mother being foreign. Oh, I get it. Norms simply do like longer hours. So they don't live near the school? I'll sigh if she didn't expect me to go any deeper. Was her previous frankness just a front? Not exactly. It's been a long time since we've actually met. I feel like I'm not getting the whole story, but I don't really want to go prying into her situation. Her about face shows she feels kind of awkward about it. So, do you speak much English? Us, I don't know that much about Scotland, but I at least know that's the main language there. Takes her a moment to collect herself, appreciating the change in topic. That's right. My family mostly used Japanese around the house when I was young, but they made sure Akira and I knew our Scottish side just as well. Fluent in the language, but I'm also studying it in school to keep my skills up, and to have the qualifications on paper mainly. So you're bilingual. That's pretty impressive. Wouldn't go that far. Having parents who can speak the language is a large advantage, and English books and Braille aren't too hard to buy or import, with Yuko's help at least. There's a relatively high demand for local English teachers here anyway, which also helps give me some motivation to learn it well. Demand for English teachers? What? I wonder why she brought this up. You're planning to be an English teacher? She gives an enthusiastic nod. It must be nice having a definite future in mind. I've never really given much thought to mine, so I'm kind of envious. What's wrong? Just, I could see you as a teacher pretty easily. It suits you. For a moment, she's speechless. She lowers her face a little and lets out a nervous giggle, something I've never seen her do before. Blaze role as a class representative in her dependable nature. Teaching does seem to be a line of work fitting her personality. Sorry, that was probably a little much. It is true, though. Her friend in front of her smays dismissively. She quickly recovers. It's not that, it's just that only one person's ever said that to me before. Short, somewhat awkward silence follows the top. Ah. Sorry, I goofed. Okay. Okay, it's not that, it's just only one person's ever said it to me. A short, somewhat awkward silence follows the discussion. Without knowing it, I ended up steering into a troublesome topic again. I should try to cheer up a little. It was me who went and got her brooding, after all. Want to go grab lunch at the cafeteria after this? Prick her up a bit, or at least take her mind off her apparently complicated family situation. Smile, it seems to have the intended effect. Appreciate that, but the food there... In the conversation, she does have a point, though. The food there isn't the greatest. Maybe the Shanghai? We could ask Kanako if she wants to come as well. Ah, what is it? God, but you reminded me Hanako's birthday is coming soon. Shopping in the city for a present tomorrow. If that's an invitation, I'd be happy to accompany you. More used to layout of the city would probably be a good thing. Barely set foot in there, so I'm hopelessly lost by myself. She gives a nod, signaling that she'd happily approve of this plan for Sunday. We eventually get back to our books, though. Before I begin reading again, I steal one last glance at her. Maybe I've been thinking on my situation too much. After all, everybody here would have their own unique circumstances. The chance to get outside and clear my head will probably do me good. Do 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 do. Bored of standing in place and watching the television in a shop window, I pull myself away from the tacky display with little effort. After living at Yamaku, the city seems like an entirely different world. The running in the halls, common early contact is to be used. Times in the classrooms, students are to exit rooms after checking both directions for oncomers. Elevators are reserved for movement-impaired students, single file on the stairs. Compared to such strict, almost regimental standards, the city's shopping crowd might as well be a strange country. While the school may have its fair share of hustle and bustle during the festival, the outside world is much different. It's strange having lived in metropolitan city before my accident. This should feel more natural than Yamaku and the surrounding town ever could. It feels somehow foreign. The elevated walkways and tall buildings, each adorned with billboards, taller than any three people, don't do anything to distract me from the past and crowd's reactions. Lilly keeps one hand on my shoulder, the other holding her cane, which chaps the ground with the metronome-like steadiness. Looking over to her, that neutral smile of hers still holds. Having only seen her in school uniform, I'd not have recognized her as she sat on the bench waiting for me to come, if not for a cane propped up against it and her distinctive hair. I can't tell whether they're glancing at her due to her height, foreign looks, her obvious blindness, or all three. Not that any of those would make the situation any less uncomfortable than it is. Do you have any ideas where to look first, Hisao? Her soft voice breaks me out of my line of thought. I can imagine that she's failing to notice the attention she garners, but she seems unfazed by it. I get the feeling she's the type to enjoy walking outside, so she might be used to it by now. Not really, if this is my first time in this city, but I've got no idea of where to go. So proud in thought, planning a route for us to take, and come to think of it, a way to communicate it. I've noticed at the time I'd seen with her is how in deep in thought. She lacks close to any form of body language to show it. Her expression may change, but not a hint of it shows. She seems to have little in the way of sweeping physical gestures in general, though, so I've assumed it's part of her reserved nature. Is there a large electronics store near here? I took a quick look around, mostly finding clothes stores. After a few sections, I noticed a store with a bright blue sign some distance away that fits her description. Yeah, it's just a bit ahead of us. Should we go in that direction? Thankfully, it's the information you need. With a nod, we start off and head towards these unknown destination, landmarks being our guide. Here you go, 1 vanilla and 1 chocolate. I hand the money over the counter and take the cones to the railing that Lilly is sitting on. I can't believe I let her trick me like this. She not only led me to an ice cream stall, but she also got me to buy her some. At least she gave me the money for hers. Sure enough, she's perfectly waiting where I left her. I guess she was planning on making the day an event rather than a simple shopping trip. I call out to her and slowly place the vanilla cone in her outstretched hands, being careful to make sure she has a good hold of it before letting go. At least her tastes are fairly normal. I was worried she'd ask for some weird flavor when she first asked. Here's the change. It's okay, keep it. Protest, but realized the futility of doing over such a small amount. I slipped the coin into my pocket, supplementing my meager allowance ever so slightly. Lily shows no sign of wanting to get up, so I take a seat beside her and start eating my own ice cream. Summer weather's nice. Hopefully it'll hold out for a while. You too. I'm beginning to think I'm the only person who prefers winter. I contemplate her statement for a long moment. Yeah, I think you might be. Actually, I prefer winter, but... It draws the intended reaction. She's cute when she's pouting. Still, I can't really imagine what's so good about winter. You can't go out with bundling up and you still freeze anyway. I used to live further north, where there'd be plenty of snow to play in, so it's a little nostalgic. I don't like the heat very much either. At least you can wear a skirt, so don't complain about that. Let me just giggle as we both get back to finishing off our already melting cones. I idly sit and watch the crowds going by as we eat, catching bits and pieces of conversation. To Lily, I see her dutifully licking her ice cream from the top downwards, blissfully unaware of the fact that it's beginning to melt. It's melting. Where? Down a bit? The cone, but has no idea of where exactly the ice cream is dripping. Follows the game of guiding her left and right until she finds it. When I unlock her, it seems absolutely bizarre. A girl with her eyes closed, turning over and over as the guy next to her gives instructions. A strange variant of childhood blindfold games, maybe. A good time, we finally finished our treats, while away the time conversing casually. Caught mid-sentence, he perks her head in her trademark manner. It's an unmistakable sign that something's caught her attention. Ah, what is it? It's Akira somewhere over there. I think I heard her. There's an eyebrows looking the directions he's facing, somewhat doubtful of her ability to pick out Akira's lone voice in the din. Sure enough, though, a blonde girl in a suit can be seen through the tiny gaps between people walking every which way. I raise a hand and wave, trying to catch her attention. Sato! Hey, Sato! Traction looks toward me, evidently noticing my calls. As she notices, I notice someone walking beside her. I can't get a look at her, whoever it is, though, before the two begin walking towards where we are. As they reach us, Lil and I stand and dust ourselves off. Kira? Hey, you two. With me, a gesture which I quickly return. My gaze shifts towards the young girl next to her, and our eyes meet. As they do, Kira plops a hand onto her head, a move which doesn't seem to faze her. Don't believe we've met. Hideki, pleased to meet you, Hisao. The guy's name. So I dodged a bullet there. He bows, somewhat restrained by Akira's hand being on his head. Oh, Hideki's here too. Are you well? Akira's been taking very good care of me. Thank you. Akira grins as if to affirm the point and rubs his head hard, wearing it around in a circular motion. His cheery face during this is somewhat amusing. Uncle's out on business again, so I'm taking her around town for today. I'd have preferred to be spending the day on a date with my boyfriend, but gives a cough to try and redirect Akira's thought. Just so I find my wondering, they're related? Further, as first cousins? I suppose that explains why she's taking care of him in any case. Come to think of it, Hideki, how do you know my name? Akira told me. Being a Yamaku student, I suppose you're disabled in some way? Not everyone in Yamaku is disabled. Which I only learned a handful of days ago. I give silent thanks to Shizune and Misha for their stream of information about how the school works. Because of them, I found out that since the school will accept practically anybody suffering from non-mental disabilities, it doesn't discriminate against healthy people either. It sounds unlikely that many in good health would enroll there, though. While the standard of education is pretty high, it's extremely isolated and very much focused on helping disabled students. You're dodging the question. Damn, he's sharp. Before I can say another word, he decides to take a stab at it himself. If I were to call it myself, your heart? Smiled curious at her, interest piqued as well. It sure was a lucky guess. How did you show no missing limbs or deformities, though external disabilities are out? The lack of any strange mannerisms, it's also unlikely that you'd have any mental disability. But Yamaku doesn't take mentally disabled students. I know. Besides, the only possibility left is that of internal disabilities. I don't know which you might bear, so I guessed correctly as it turns out. Your reaction confirmed my guess. Amused, I looked to Akira. She grins and shrugs, obviously taking some enjoyment out of her partner's deductions. He's sharp, yes, but more than a little unsympathetic. Logical, but lacking in tact. His attitude reminds me of Shizune in a way, so do his looks. I ask why you're staring at me. Surely I'm not that unusual specimen. Does he not know how unusual he looks? I could overlook the spats and clothing as just being coincidental, but the ribbon in his hair really is too much. This is entirely beside the point, though. Sorry, you just remind me of someone. Kira gives a sharp jab with her elbow. Told you you're not that much different from her. He coughs into his hand to try and maintain an upright and serious demeanor. I see you've met my sister, then. My full name might help you. I'm Hideki Hakamichi. I'm probably thinking of my sister, Shizune Hakamichi. Oh, so he's Shizune's brother. Wait a minute. If Hideki is the son of Akira's uncle, and Shizune is his sister, then that means Lilly and Shizune's father is our brother-in-law. Therefore, Lilly and Shizune are first cousins? Groans in an incorrectly unrestrained manner. The reaction earns an amused smirk from her sister. The enmity between the two just took on another meaning. I had thought it simply a matter of difficulty of communication between the two, but a family feud makes things much more difficult. You can choose your friends, but you can't choose your family. Gives a half-hearted shrug. She doesn't give as much weight to the two's conflict as I do. So it is. What are you up to today on this fine date? We're shopping for Hanako's birthday present. The day will be coming up soon, so this is the last chance we'll have before school starts again for the week. Akira makes a strange face, as if Lilly had just said that the sky wasn't blue and the clouds not white. Isn't her birthday on the 10th next month? Why, is something wrong? His face seems to collapse. It's an utterly unbefitting expression for someone so rowdy and headstrong. The folks didn't call you yet? Shakes her head cluelessly. I look at Hideki to see if he knows anything about this. A simple shrug is his only answer. For a moment, Akira ponders what to do before smiling once again. The fact that she can hide her emotions so quickly and effectively is unsettling. Hey, Shorty. Sorry, could you hang us out for a while? He nods and waves her off. Akira places an arm on Lily's shoulder as she guides her way and out of earshot. And so I'm alone with Shorty. So, nice weather, isn't it? Seems so. I guess they dumped us. Indeed. With a farcical attempt at small talk, got no idea of how to talk to this guy, and his robotic responses aren't helping. Blood and a stone come to mind. Unworried, he begins to rock on his feet in an obvious gesture of boredom with this deduction. Oh my gosh. Begins to rock on his feet in an obvious gesture of boredom with this discussion. He really is like a little kid despite his serious demeanor. Conversation over. I decide to accomplish what I can to do in the first place. I'm gonna go search for a present. Coming? What else to do? I better save. And a thunderstorm is now in my area. Cool. We got an ad break incoming. Okay, so that we'll go on to ads and then we'll right back. Okay, we back. Well, we come to a little shop beside a convenience store. For once, the store windows aren't filled with electronics and computer games, but dolls, stuffed bears, and all manners of wood-crafted oddities. Othello's Antiques? Sir, if there's anything in this town that suit Hanako, I guess it'd be here. The old-looking door handle would pull back at last minute as I realized my companion's gone adrift. Not coming in? They'll be just loose in for a while, don't mind me. Painfully clear that he has zero interest in what's in the store, and that he doesn't feel obligated to follow me. As he wanders off without another word, I push the thickened wooden door and enter the store, a bell above me ringing out. The smell of musty old books and wood shelves is distinctly anachronistic. I look to the counter beside the door. The gray man beside it sits there silently, reading a tattered book. He certainly fits the look of the place. The person I'm reminded of as I inspect each handicraft or import. Body in turn is at Hanako. Looking down, I examine the ancient oak desk inside the shop window. 30 dolls, all varying wildly in size and make. The only similarity between them is the long Victorian dresses they wear. I turn the price tag at one that looks to be about waist height. It's not in my price bracket at all. I do the same to each of them, getting more and more depressed as they get smaller and smaller in size. That is, until I reach the very smallest one. It's affordable, just yet of quality make with long auburn hair and a little blue dress. The kind of present Hanako would appreciate, pretty looking and far from gaudy. After I carefully pick it up, I decide to keep looking around the store. It's because I let the atmosphere out of simple curiosity. Peeking around the corner, before I go to the sale, I see that the shelves in this one are stocked with wooden toys. From toy cars to intricate automatons. Nutcrackers, I notice a little plain wooden box. It feels surprisingly light as I pick it up with my free hand. It needs the smallest movement to pop open, the little metal drum inside beginning to rotate immediately. Seconds on in, I simply stand there listening to the palm-sized melody. As it plays, I take the tiny price tag in my finger to my face. The minuscule cursive writing takes some effort to read. It's affordable, sort of. I close the lid. Went to the counter with the doll and music box in hand. Counter. The man behind it sits up and takes stock of them. He doesn't is surprised at someone of my age buying them. It's painful, but I hand the money over for the two and leave the store with a small opaque bag in hand. There takes me by surprise. I thought you'd be by the newsstand. Kira gave me a call. She's waiting for us at the fountain with Lilly. Solves the issue of trying to find them again. The fountain, Nicky's immaculate posture and presentation, despite his appearance, makes for a strange contrast even as we walk. Kira stand there waiting for us, their faces hard to read. Hey, you ready to go, Shorty? Seem to improve as he rejoins her. Lilly, Sal, tell Hanako I said happy birthday. My. Goodbye, Akira. The two disappeared in the fracas of the afternoon city crowd. Now she's carrying a small bag. It's now that I realize why her disposition felt different from before. While Lily's typically the type to wear emotions on her sleeve, her expression and tone are clouded and difficult to read. It's more than a little off-putting, but given the effort she's making to hide her emotions, I doubt she wants to be cornered on why she's feeling this way. But Hanako a present? Have you? Yeah. Bus stop then? Okay. There should be a bus Yamaku pretty soon. We'll begin to walk. Feels strange compared to before. His hand on my forearm feels unusually tense. The whole atmosphere is extraordinarily awkward. Silence continues for a long while. I really don't like seeing her like this. Hanako's birthday party is going to be held earlier. Is the 4th going to be alright for you? I have no possible obligations, so I fixedly nod. So I remember that doing so is pointless and quickly answer some of my speech. She tries to collect herself, a task that looks almost pitiably and how plain it is to see how distant her thoughts are. You said the best would coming soon, right? Right. She says it, I have an idea. Actually, do you have anything to do later today? So why do you ask? This is the point where I'd normally take you in and rush you somewhere, but even without that, you'll have to trust me, okay? And then gently later on, her distant face replaced by one of mild surprise and curiosity. Just the cup of tea and coffee that I'd order onto the table. I thank her before she takes her leave. Truth be told, I would have looked out and find this cafe. I really didn't know where I was going, rather I was just looking for any cafe that looked relatively nice. Recover a little. Lilly tenderly sips at her cup as I take a long gulp of the coffee in front of me. I hoped. Her face lights up as she realizes what flavor it is. This is wonderful. Did you know this was... I'd asked for a French vanilla black tea. She my bets that would be her favorite flavor, at least one she liked. Well, I don't know much about tea. It sounded like one she might appreciate. On the basis of her liking vanilla ice cream, a tea connoisseur I am definitely not. It was a lucky guess. You really like tea, don't you? She gives a tiny nod. Familiar smile thankfully perched on her face once again. Drinking tea is calming, I think. How do you drink? You're pretty sure you're not addicted to it? Caffeine addiction's pretty common nowadays. Did I ever say I wasn't? My head drops. We all have our vices, I suppose, and there are worse things to be addicted to. French vanilla black tea, huh? I'll have to remember that. It's comforting to have someone like her nearby in such new surroundings, even if it's just the two of us sitting in silence. I begin to wonder if this feeling is the same for her until she sets down her cup. Misao, do you mind if I ask you a slightly odd question? So the question, I guess. I mean, what your favorite color is, if one has one after all. This reply before realizing what the seemingly mundane question is actually quite strange. Favorite color, but it's pounding look to answer anyway. Though the answer seems unavoidably wasted on her, there isn't any harm in giving it. I've always had a thing for green. I'd say that's my favorite. Green, is it? What things do you think of when contemplating that color? I suppose grass fields and trees in summer. The army as well with camouflage. I seem to like the military. It's a nice color, a very nice color. Her head as if approving of the choice, considering how foreign the concept of color is to her mind. Labeling it by association seems reasonable enough. If everyone has a favorite color, then what's yours? White. I'm told that's the color of snow and of ice cream. Better than me. You only like that color because of your favorite food. I guess white's nice too, though. It'll be getting dark soon. Let me help you up. To take mine to help lift her up from her seat at the table. Its softness compared to mine takes me off guard, as I'm not used to such casual contact. It doesn't seem to bother her at all, though. It seems obvious why it feels like just one more ladylike aspect to her. As her hand moves to her pocket, I quickly cut her off. Don't worry, I'll pay for this. Thank you, Isao. Her smiled at the gesture, a reward much greater than that of her words. By the time we step off the bus, it's well and truly dark. Make our way up the hill in silence, both of us behaving a little awkwardly, probably because of the day's events. I'm still concerned over Lily's withdrawn nature after meeting with her sister. The fact I managed to cheer her up even slightly feels like a personal victory. But it feels like the air between us has changed. Maybe it's only a bit, but it's something I don't think either of us has realized before. That was a date, wasn't it? It was. That doesn't elude either of us. The question's answer being so self-evident as to be rhetorical. Awkward as it may be, I don't think this feeling is bad. In fact, quite the opposite. I don't know what it is. Certainly can't be sure, but it feels like something a little more than friendship. Standing empathy, searching for words to describe it is difficult nonetheless. Would you like to do this again sometime, Lily, without shopping for presents? The question is met with the same look from Lily's before. Her pale skin makes the rosy tint of her cheeks just the more noticeable in her face, though still pointed to the street ahead of her lowers just a little. Okay. Doop doop doop. Pop pop pop. All the dormitories, my school bag in hand. A doll lies inside, carefully placed on top of a small box. I've been carrying the box in there for a while now, still not sure of what to do with it. The whole situation, come to think of it, is bizarre. Well, I've known of Hanako's upcoming birthday party for a while, I had no idea of exactly what the celebration would be, until I found out a single note left in the abandoned tea room earlier today. Read it in, double-checking the instructions. The plain black handwriting is fairly legible despite Lily's blindness. Clearly thanks to considerable effort and care. Hisao, will be holding a party at my place. Come at 6 o'clock to room 225 in the girls' dormitory. Sorry for notifying this way, but I have class representative duties. Lilly Satao. Not reassured, I continue walking the hallway until I reach Lily's dormitory room. For a moment, but eventually give 3 sharp taps on the door. The exchange of words can be heard from the other side. Listening closer, I can just pick out Hanako and Lily's voices. As they finish, Lily calls out, Might that be a Hasao? Yeah, I got the note you left for me. Come in, the door is unlocked. I managed to get the right room. I press down on the handle and let myself in. The door swings open. My greeting to them is stolen from my mouth. In the center of the room in her pajamas, while on the other side, Hanako in a nightgown. Being dressed only in my normal school clothes, I feel quite out of place. It's the lovely sight of the two, my eyes sticking themselves from Lily's thon and legs only with a measure of reluctance. I thought I bought everything that was needed. I wonder if she's aware of the pleasant sight she makes. The thin dark blue silk of her pajamas really suits her, accentuating both her eyes and her curves. Look of her last night, that tentative and most shy demeanor seems all but replaced by her coy nature. It's nice to see her confidence return, though I can't help casting my mind back to how she looked back then. Look to Hanako, who nervously sits opposite in her gown. Surprised that she'd wear something so considerate, though it definitely looks cute. Hi, Hanako. Happy birthday. Thank you. Usually skittish, despite that she's warmed up to me considerably. The weeks we've come to know each other, this is a pretty unusual situation, I guess. Take a seat, Hisao. I've just poured you two some tea. Sure thing. The steaming red teapot from the side of the table gently pours its contents into our teacups. As I take a seat beside them, setting my bag against the nearby wall. With my senses returned and hormones somewhat calmer, I realize that this is the first time I've ever been in Lily's room. The first thing I notice is the ambient smell, just slightly different from that in mine, probably faint perfume or nail polish. It could be anything of a girl's, really. Another is the plain nature of the room visually. Beige walls, a smart yet unadorned cabinet, the lack of poster or wall hangings. It's distinctly utilitarian, something I should have anticipated given her blindness. The thing that really seems out of order is the several piles of books sitting on the floor, each reaching from roughly knee height to waist height. Some of them have printed titles, others are entirely blank except for dots of braille. The fact that the ones with printed titles were uniformly in English is interesting, though not completely unexpected. She did mention her parents impressing the language upon her and Akira after all. Your room looks nice, Lily. Thanks from beside my shoulder. Like Donako, her gaze is fixed on our lap and her hands nervously clutching her gown. It's now that I notice why. These clothes on, the extent of her scarring is far more visible, reaching down her neck and out to cover her right shoulder. This is a party for her. She doesn't look like she's enjoying the experience now that I'm here. So, how old are you turning? 18? Surprised not helped by her skill at hiding her feelings. Shows that she was trying to mentally tune me out. This is really quite awkward. Yes. On the plus side, that's only 2 more years till you can drink. So, who's older, you or Lilly? Lilly. She had her birthday in February. What about yours? Earlier this year, so it's already passed. Stated is that it passed while I was stuck in the hospital. That was a particularly low point of the experience. Fur dries up as quickly as expected. It isn't long before Lily's finished preparing our drink, setting down the 3 teacups in front of us. I picked mine up, immediately noticing a much stronger taste than the tea we've been having. Huh. It tastes different than the tea we have in school. It's a different variety, rather than the kind we've been having. You've never tasted orange or before. Not that I can remember. I usually drink coffee after like when we were in town. This is nice, though. So we settle down and Hanako seems to be more relaxed, or at least a bit less tense about my experience. Hold on, have I heard that being used as different things like what she said? Orange Yapur. Okay, so it's a black tea is with bits of orange. Anyway, settle down and sip. Hanako seems more relaxed, or at least a bit less tense than my presence. She cups at the same time, Hanako feeling rather badly at hiding her anticipation for the cake that's sitting to the side, begging to be eaten. I failed to myself. First things first, though. Lilly? Snow is good. Knowing the other means. Isn't digging around in my bag for the doll I bought. Because Lily gets up and retrieves her gift. And we present them both on the table at the same time. Happy birthday! Looking for seconds on end out of sheer surprise. Little wood doll replete with Victorian-era guests and little hat lies next to a light brown and fluffy stuffed bear from Lilly. Just her gown as she moves to speak, not taking her eyes off the modest presents. Thank you, Lilly and Yisao. Aww. Her voice begins to crack as Lilly reaches forward, wrapping her in a soft embrace. The sight of Hanako holding so tightly is heartwarming, so that I couldn't wipe the smile off my face even if I wanted to. Gently rests her face on Hanako's She speaks so quietly and softly that I can barely hear. Happy birthday, Hanako. Happy birthday. Small nod, holding on to Lilly for a time before breaking off and wiping an eye. For Hanako, simply having anyone to be there and love her would be special. The fact that Lilly and I can share that role for her is something I will always be grateful for. Gently takes the doll and teddy bear, holding them both to her chest as she warmly smiles. For a long time, all three of us simply sit in happy silence. The quiet is not broken until Lily's soft voice beckons. Shall we have at the cake, then? With two looks of unhidden anticipation. No argument from me. Okay? Was good. Sit back both. Go. Just as satisfied with the food as I. Took some effort, but we managed to finish off the cake in one go. I don't think I could fit any more in. So I'll buy a smaller cake. You and I chuckle, but I can't help but knowing that come this time next year, we'll have graduated from Yamaku. Somewhat depressing, since I finally feel as if my life is starting to get back into some kind of order. Idle looking around this neat and orderly room. Our books catch my eye once again. A little impetuous, but my curiosity gets the better of me. Besides, I don't think she'll mind in any case. Hey, Lily, do you mind if I take a look at one of your books? Welcome to, Hisao. Said, if you can overcome 2 language barriers, I'll be quite impressed. You, Braylon, all right, English. She gives a nod. And you are studying English, but I'm still amazed that you're this proficient at it. Say it's a perfect way to avoid people borrowing my collection. Then in jest. But I am a little disappointed. Having all these books around me with no way of reading them feels like one big tease. Quietly as I reach over the closest file, flicking the topmost book with only a cursory glance. Death on the Nile in large letters on the cover is the only printed text to be seen. The book up as Lily and Hanako talk. Try as I might to feel out the dots of braille printed on each page, they seem to blend into one another and become indistinct. I felt this be easier than it actually is. Some practice, though. I could see someone with a better sense of touch than mine managing to read at a pretty fast speed. Silence that had probably begun earlier. I look up from the dotted page to see Lily smiling as Hanako sips another cup of tea. Is something wrong? Quite the opposite. Your curiosity is quite endearing. I'm not really pleased by the praise, though I can feel my cheeks heating up a little. Thanks, but I don't know how else I could act. To be honest, I wasn't together sure of how you saw us since you were a new transfer student from another school. If you'd pitied us, I would have been quite offended. A certain edge to Lily's voice, one that I'd quite possibly place as pride. Glancing over to Hanako, she seems even more subdued than usual, looking towards Lily rather than me. I wouldn't worry about that, considering the position I found myself in. I'm perhaps the last person that should be dispensing pity on others. My parents' first interaction with me after my heart attack. I wouldn't want anyone to see that kind of face. Pushed myself from going any further, not soon enough, but the girls seemed to be put off, Lily especially. I'm sorry, shouldn't have gone that far. Her silence reigns for a few beats, thankfully ended as Lily's head perks up in a gesture I've come to easily recognize. Hear something? The door. Everyone looks toward it, trusting in Lily's senses. To run off the door handle shudders and turns. A flash of yellow and black slipping through. Akira Satao is in the house. Happy birthday, Hanako. Thank you. Akira takes a seat at the table as she plops her tall bag beside her. She's a trademark boisterous air about her, making no small deal of her entrance. Hanako clutches her gown to steady herself, but doesn't appear too shaken. After she settles down, I guess she met Akira before. Not a huge surprise given how close Akira and Lily are. I skipped the thing too far. Hold on. Akira doesn't seem to at least put off by Hanako's scarring, despite its prominence. But she also doesn't pull any punches on how she acts despite Hanako's shy nature. I thought you'd said you'd have to work. Akira, did you manage to get off for a while? Kind of. I feel bad about ditching the guys doing overtime, so I gotta get back soon. But I feel bad about not coming cute little Hanako's birthday too, so for now I'm here. Turns wildly at Hanako. Flowers in a full blush as she pins her eyes downward towards her lap. Her mouth seems to widen and retract over and over as she's trying to smell a smile out of embarrassment. Strange how her reaction seems to be more immediate and forceful than when she's embarrassed by the way she looks. She managed to give in return just a tiny nod, failing to hide her appreciation to any great extent. That many people give her positive attention, I suppose. Makes me respect how well Akira can handle her, making her so happy compared to what little I could do. Before I go, it's in the bag beside her and she displays its contents. Out come 2 large glass bottles, both with long French names on the labels. Expression is an odd mix of surprise and curiosity. I suspect Nine's no different. Lilly, not seeing the proceedings, is oblivious to what's going on. Akira, this isn't... What is it? Wine. 1 red, 1 white. Akira, that's... Relax, it's not like Shizune's here to scold you. Lilly has a point. It's not exactly allowed on campus. Or anywhere, really. Still short of legal drinking age, remember? Rich words from someone practically drooling as he examines a bottle. She got me there. I'm genuinely interested in trying some, even just a little. Longo may not be handling one himself. Her look does tell me that she's far from opposed to the notion as well. It's her forehead giving up the fight that she knows Akira would win due to simply not caring those funny rules and regulations. Just don't breathe a word of this to anyone at school, please, I beg of you. I'm not stupid, don't worry. Said I gotta go back to work pretty soon. I only just arrived. Really. See you two again, though, and you, Hisao. See you later, then. Bye, Akira. So for the aunt waltzes out of the room, leaving us alone with the 2 items on the table. Wait a minute. Whether that means we'd have to dispose of them. I'll figure out how to stealthily dispose of them. Nerve her sister's antics as Hanako takes a wine bottle. So, what do you think, Lilly? Sonelva pinches the bridge of her nose, thinking things through. She really doesn't seem to be able to keep up with her sister. Well, if it's already here, we may as well have some. Sooner does she say it that I take a quick through the room for glasses. Lily returned to her rest in our bed for a few minutes ago. Whilst completely drained of energy, I managed to stand up and drag myself to the side of the bed, sitting down and leaning my back against it. God. Roan sounds lifeless. To drink? My head hurts. Too much to drink. My head back and stare idly at the ceiling. What an unmitigated disaster. We all drank the night away with 1 glass after another. Hanako simply fell to the side asleep. It's a miracle I don't feel as ill as Lilly. Sorry about today. I didn't think this would happen. It's fine. To tell the truth, I had a lot of fun today. Did you? No, she certainly did. Before another groan responds from the supine Lilly. You okay? I drank too much. What's the time? Oh, it's numerals barely legible in the gloom. About midnight. Curfew's in effect then. I'll have to sleep here for tonight. And the sheet's moving as Lilly starts to sit up. Hanako. Oh, go back to sleep. Don't try to get up. So I have to... You're in worse shape than me by any stretch. Get some rest. What about... I'll grab some spare blankets and put them over it, don't worry. Try to retrieve them. Lie back down with a soft thud. Thank you, Hisao. You look outright wasted. Not wasted, just a little bit tired. Pouting. Slight slur beginning to distort her words as the alcohol takes hold of her again. I grab a couple of blankets rolled up at the end of her bed. Looking over to Hanako, I carefully lay the blankets over her peacefully sleeping figure, making sure not to wake her up. The thick smell of alcohol coming off her breath makes me doubt she'd wake up, no matter what I did, though. I stand and take one last measure of the room. Two girls, both very drunk, and one guy sleeping overnight with them in the female student's dorm. What a scandal that'd be if it broke out. As I move to sit back down at the side of the bed, I one last glance at Lilly. Her sprawling, disheveled figure lies resting peacefully, slightly turned to the side. I crouch down to get a better look. Her white skin blends into the white pillow of the bed, a look of slumber-born peacefulness on her face. Usually she seems so confident and forward, always there and caring for Hanako. Now, though, she seems painfully delicate. I think back to Hanako's presence. I thought it'd be a nice occasion for her, but I'd hardly expected it to be so moving. One birthday after another, year after year. Just she and Lilly all alone. I guess it wasn't just the present she liked. Resigning myself to an uncomfortable sleep, I sit down at the side of the bed once again and rest my tired arms beside me. Now? Voice so quiet I can barely hear it. It's been on the verge of sleep. Yeah? Thank you. For what? For being here. It's okay. Breath. It's obviously Lily's gone to sleep. After I close my eyes, it doesn't take long for slumber to take me as well. So are you? Audible voice lingering in my ear slowly wakes me. I could be awoken like this more often. With a mumble, I slowly open my... Ah! Surprised at the face hovering mere millimeters from mine, I make our heads collide with a harsh thud. The impact of our foreheads caused both of us to fall backwards and yelp in pain. Lilly sounding more like a squeak toy than a person. Ow, ow. I pour myself together. The Fuhei doing just the same, her face obviously pain. Sorry, your face was kinda close and I acted on reflex. You okay? My head. It seems she's not actually okay. Come to think of it, I doubt the impact alone is what's causing her head so much pain. Hangover? You drank a fair bit last night. Confirmations, I lift myself up. Offer a hand to her and help her back to her feet. Behind her, I find that Hanako is still fast asleep. It's not fair. I only drank as much as you did. That's very different from what I remember. Anyway, girls have a lower alcohol tolerance than men. That doesn't help. Get you a glass of water. Be careful not to trip over Hanako. Eyes, or at least some of it, to counter. Sitting as someone with a hangover isn't the way I like to spend a morning. It only takes a few lessons for the glass to fill the clear water reflecting the silver of light that makes it through the thin curtains. Looks like Lily's taking a seat on the side of the bed. I walk over to her while taking care to step over the peacefully sleeping Hanako and place the glass into her outstretched hands. Thank you. No problem. Next to her, the soft bed gave a surprising amount of give. Slowly and methodically, a long silence passes with only Hanako's soft breathing to be heard. Guilt. Lily's face, an attempt to read her expression. Her brow is furrowed and she looks to be lost in thought. Hesitate, but eventually place it on her shoulder in an attempt to reassure her. I didn't expect her to flinch rather noticeably at that, though. Sorry, I didn't mean to... Shakes her head in a manner somewhat more violent than usual for her. She takes a long breath to steady herself before letting her head sink. I must look terrible right now. Protest, but quickly realize that it would be futile to do so. That said, I want her to open up more. If you want to talk about anything, I'm here. I hit too bit. Lilly gives a self-depreciating snort as if to mock her own emotions. There's just a lot happening right now. Sorry for being so strange. Back when we were in town. Even now I'm a bit confused about everything. I know what that feels. She smiles wistfully, resting a cheek on the backs of her fingers. We're a couple of broken young fools, aren't we? Come on, don't say that. Come graduation, we'll be back out into the real world. the real world. Sometimes I surprise myself with the way I think about things. I guess the strange divorce feeling of Yamako and the surrounding town compared to the outside world still hasn't become natural. Maybe it never will. It's strange in hindsight. Being isolated from society like this doesn't feel as bad as it probably should. A wry grin on her face, Lily seemed to share the same sense of amusement at the idea. Eventually, though, her smile drops. I'll be going back to Scotland for a week or two soon. Is that why we had to reschedule Anako's birthday party? She gives an affirmative nod. You'll be able to see your family again, at least. You're not looking forward to it? I haven't met my family in 6 years. I don't even know how to act around them anymore. Wait, what? My mouth hangs open as I try to process what she said. If she's 18, that means she'd been 12 when they left. I may have seen very little of my parents with them, but both working long hours, but that's... Really used as I struggled to find some way to respond. That's... But why? Why did they leave, or why are they inviting Akira and me back? Both, I suppose. My father's business had its headquarters in Scotland. An executive position became available for him there. In the end, he had to move permanently. My mother followed him. But Akira and I stayed in Japan, for the sake of both Akira's job within the Japanese branch of my father's company, and my education. As for the latter, one of my aunts is gravely sick. Sorry. Feels strange, we're being summoned there for her, yet we've barely met before. I can't even remember the sound of her voice. Strange is the total lack of antipathy she feels towards her family for doing such a thing. Antipathy she feels towards her family for doing such a thing. Can't help feeling slightly humbled. Said, her wistful exterior is just hiding her emotions. Seeing her like this is depressing. What to do? I lift myself off the bed. Notices the bed's movements. Her head's perking up and her hand reaches sideways to the field where I was. You saw? Peg. Hits the wall, unbuckling the front flap and pecked within. I take the small, plain box in my hands. Hold your hands out, Lily. Surprised from it, then eventually acquiesces. Despite her look at Cressy when I place the music box in her open palms. Her typically delicate way of handling it seems as if it were fragile enough to break if it breathed on. She worthily brings it in front of her face, her slender fingers feeling out its contours and patterning. Her fingers find the recessed line between the lid and body of the box. Her thumb effortlessly pops open the lid. I take a seat on the bed next to her, watching her face silently and intently. She sits completely motionlessly as she listens to the diminutive, tinny melody, her mouth just slightly open. Takes a long while before she closes the lid with a small snap, bringing the curtain down on the miniature performance playing in her hands. The smile on her face, gentle and wistful, shows that I made the right decision. Think of it as a going-away present for your trip to Scotland. I will. On the floor in front of us, the sound having woken Hanako. Blankets. I put over her, looking befuddled and wiping the sleep from her eyes. So you're finally up. What? Around the room with her eyes open, her mind far from being as awake as her body. Her dazed state makes me and Lily chuckle. Bet intends to Hanako. I take one last look around the room. Uh-oh. Okay, I'm back. We're back? Okay. OBS just decided to go burr for a second there. Okay. Anyway, as Lily gets off the bed and tends to Hanako, I take one oh my gosh, oh my. I can read. I swear. As Lily gets off the bed and tends Hanako, I take one last look around the room. I guess I better get going along then. There'll be questions if I'm seen leaving the girls' dormitories in the morning. Bye, Hisao. Oh, goodbye. I stand and walk to the door, picking up my somewhat lighter bag along the way. After I leave the room and enter the hallway, though, I hear Lily's footsteps behind me. What's wrong? She rides at me. She strides at me. I freeze as I feel her hand sliding on my cheek, simulates every nerve taking in the feeling of her fingers and palm upon it. Immediately after, her face slowly moves next to mine, a light, momentary touch of her lips brushing against my other cheek. For a moment, everything seems to stand still. I absently bring my fingers to my cheek, as if to try and recapture that fleeting feeling. Lily. That's my thank you, Hisao. Thank you. Present. Have a nice day in school. With that, she disappears behind her door and gently closes it, the muffled voices of her and Hanako audible through it much as they were yesterday night. I think I'd be hard-pressed not to have a nice day after that. I start springing my step. I think there were some people around that glanced at me emerging from the girls' dormitory building, but I find it difficult to care. Okay. I think we'll call it there, and then so we can finish it up next time. So I hope y'all enjoyed that.